Welcome to another graphics lesson, and today we have a St. Brigid's Cross special. So you can see here that we have the St. Brigid's Cross, and basically our outline size is 200 millimeters by 200 millimeters, and then we do a small extension for the ends of the cross. The centerpiece of the cross is 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters, so let's get to it. Firstly, I'm going to draw my line close to the bottom of the page, maybe about 30-40 millimeters up. And I'm going to draw that line 200 millimeters long. Now you can see I'm adding the dimension line there. You do not have to draw the dimension line. You just follow that blue line there, okay, beginning at point A. I draw 200 millimeters up and across, and I complete the square. I now go in 100 millimeters to find halfway. And I come down 100 millimeters to find halfway, and I divide my square into 4 quadrants. I then go to the centre, and I position my set square 25 mil either side of the centre line, horizontally and vertically, to form the square in the middle. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to position the stem. So I'm going to extend on the lines as shown. We'll go into the bottom left here, and there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark in 5 millimeters in from each of those lines at the ends, like so. And that's so we can get that angular effect on the stems when we draw them. Now I'm going to divide up the square in the middle. Each part is 5 millimeters long. So each square, we're going to create a grid with squares that are 5 millimeters by 5 millimeters. So as you can see there, I've now created the grid with the 5 millimeter squares, and of course that square overall was 50 by 50, so it divided up nice and even. Now I'm going to put in the angular part of the stem, joining from the points as can be seen. And that's why I marked in those 5 millimeter points in on the ends, so we could create the angle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the square in the outside to extend on each of the stems to angle outward, as typical with the St. Brigid's Cross. So those squares being added on are an extension of the existing construction lines that you see, the blue lines, and they are extended out a further 25 millimeters. And then I angle the stems out towards the corners of each of those boxes that I have just added. Okay, and that gives me the angular stems going out. I then heavy over the ends there, like so. And on the actual joint, we draw a line there. And now I'm going to mark in 5 millimeters from that line in all 4 positions to create that well, I suppose where the straw is tied around the end to create the angle on the stem. Okay, now I'm going to heavy the box in the centre, and watch how I do the pattern inside here. Okay, so every time I take a row to heavy it in, I'm heavying it in just 1 square short. Okay, so just be mindful of that. And you can see how I build the picture up until eventually I get to the center here, and I have a line in the middle. Okay, so that is to represent the weave pattern on the cross. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm highlighting those 5 millimeter points there on the stem coming out, and I'm doing 3 millimeter divisions on the, if we want to call it the joint points out at the ends of the stem there. So they're 3 millimeters apart. Each of those points 3 millimeters apart. So what I'm going to do now is then on the ends of the stems go back out there, because that's 25. I'm going to divide that into 5 millimeter parts, and then I'm going to join. And you can see how I'm joining those points, and it's giving me nice consistent angular lines. Okay, that are evenly distributed across the stems. And you'll see now as I do out on the part extending, I'm only heavying the part. I'm lining them up to 5mm and the 3mm, but I'm only heavying a portion of the line to where the reeds would be tied around. So now I have essentially all of the technical detail complete. So now it's just a matter to colour. Now at this time of the year, those crosses would be green, because the reeds would be green, but it can be made from different materials too. Normally it's made from a traditional reed material that grows normally by water, beside water. Or you can find it in very marshy type land as well. So all I'm doing here, I'm just using a yellow because as the St. Brigid's crosses age, the reeds turn a dark browny, yellowy colour. So that's what I'm doing there. And for every second line I colour in, I'm colouring one heavy, one light, one heavy, one light, one heavy, to give an effect. Okay? To give a little bit of, what would you say, difference in the surface, or continuity in the colour. Okay, so we can have a nice contrast between reed to reed. And that is the St. Brigid's cross complete. So happy St. Brigid's Day. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Alright, and give it a go. If you're finding it difficult, just sketch it out. And remember to click and subscribe for more amazing content.